Everyone thought he was wasting his time, practicing day after day in an empty field. Until the day the world finally understood what he had been training for. He was just an ordinary teenager, living in a small rural town where opportunities were few and big dreams were often met with laughter. His one true passion was running. Not because he was particularly fast, but because when he ran, he felt a sense of freedom he couldn't find anywhere else. Every single morning, long before the sun even thought about rising, he would be out on the dirt roads. His path took him past quiet rice fields, past old, weathered houses, and past the curious gazes of neighbors who couldn't understand why he bothered. "Running won't put food on the table," they'd say, shaking their heads. "Stop chasing things that won't matter." But he ignored them. He kept going, day after day. He wasn't running for medals. He wasn't chasing applause. He was running because it was the one thing in his chaotic world that he felt he could truly control. At school, he was invisible. He wasn't one of the popular kids. He wasn't the smartest in his class, nor was he the strongest on the sports team. He was quiet, struggled with confidence, and rarely ever spoke up. Running was his sanctuary. It was the only place where he didn't feel small, where he didn't feel judged. The moment his feet started hitting the ground, the rest of the world and all its problems simply melted away. In those fleeting moments, he allowed himself to believe that he could be more than what everyone else saw. He could be more than just ordinary. One afternoon, he spotted a worn flyer tacked to a community notice board. It was an advertisement for a provincial marathon. The prize money wasn't a life-changing fortune, but it was just enough. Enough to help his mother pay off a heavy debt that had been weighing on their family for years. A spark of hope ignited within him. He had to join. But there was a problem. He didn't have proper running shoes. The only pair he owned was old, torn, and held together with layers of stubborn tape. Some of the other kids at school openly laughed at him when they heard he was even thinking about competing. "You? In a marathon? With those shoes?" They'd mock. But their words didn't stop him. He signed up anyway. From that day on, his training intensified. Every afternoon, as soon as school was out, he would head to the fields and run. He pushed himself harder than ever before, running until his legs shook with exhaustion, until his lungs burned for air, until sweat covered his body like a second skin, like armor. His mother, seeing his relentless effort, grew worried. She would often plead with him to rest, to not push himself so hard. But he would just offer her a tired smile and say, "I need to try, Mom. I just have to." What he never told her was that this race was about more than just the competition. It was about more than just the prize money. He was running to prove something to himself. He was running to prove that he was capable of achieving something meaningful, something that mattered. He was running to prove all the doubters wrong, but most importantly, to prove the doubter inside his own head wrong. Finally, the day of the marathon arrived. The starting line was a sea of vibrant colors and nervous energy. Other runners were decked out in expensive shoes, sleek compression gear, and high-tech watches that tracked every heartbeat, every calorie burned. He stood among them, feeling a little out of place. He had no fancy gear, no special equipment. All he had was his unyielding determination and a pair of shoes that were barely holding together. When the starting whistle blew, a surge of runners sprinted ahead, disappearing into the distance. He started slow not by choice, but because he knew his worn-out shoes couldn't handle the strain of a full-speed sprint. He had to be strategic. He had to conserve what little he had. But as the race progressed, something remarkable began to happen. Halfway through the course, the runners who had shot out of the gate with explosive speed began to falter. Some slowed to a walk, clutching their sides. Others collapsed onto the grass, completely drained of energy. Discouragement was written on their faces. But he kept going. He maintained the same steady, rhythmic pace he had practiced for countless hours on those lonely dirt roads back home. And slowly, methodically, he began to pass them. One runner after another. The quiet boy in the taped-up shoes was moving through the pack. As he neared the final stretch, every muscle in his body screamed in protest. His legs felt like they were on fire. He could feel his shoes literally ripping apart with each desperate stride. The urge to quit, to just stop and collapse, was overwhelming. But then, in his mind's eye, he saw his mother's tired, hard-working hands. He thought about the debt that cast a shadow over their home. He remembered the dismissive voices of the people who said he would never achieve anything. And he thought about all those lonely mornings, running in the dark when no one was watching, when no one cared. That was all the fuel he needed. He pushed forward, channeling every ounce of pain and doubt into one final powerful surge. He crossed the finish line, not in first place, but in third, and third place was enough. It was enough to win the cash prize he so desperately needed for his family. When his name was called over the loudspeaker to receive his prize, the crowd erupted in cheers. They weren't cheering for a famous athlete or a seasoned champion. They were cheering for the underdog. They were cheering for the boy who refused to give up, the boy who showed up with nothing but heart and proved that it was more than enough. When he handed the envelope of money to his mother, she held it, tears streaming down her face. But she wasn't crying because of the money. She was crying because in that moment, she saw what her son had become. She realized he had achieved this incredible feat through pure, unadulterated heart and grit. He didn't go on to become a celebrity runner. He never won any gold medals or broke any world records. But that day taught him and everyone who witnessed his journey an invaluable lesson. Greatness isn't measured by trophies or accolades. It's not about having the best gear or the most talent. It is measured by how hard you are willing to fight when you have every reason to quit, especially when nobody believes in you. From that day on, whenever someone would ask him how he managed to do it, how he found the strength to keep going, he would simply smile and say, "I wasn't running to be the fastest. I was running to prove I could keep going." Thank you so much for watching. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content that inspires. We'll see you in the next one.